In our 78th season, the Palm Beach Civic Association brings you Palm Beach TV, the island's only newscast. We're sponsored by the Fortin Foundation of Florida. Our mission is to inform town residents about the unique challenges of island life and to highlight the actions and achievements of our leaders and the dynamic people who live here. Now the news.
Hi, I'm Wendy Rutledge. This time on Palm Beach TV, our focus is on water. First, we're going to take you to the West Palm Beach Water Treatment Plant, where we will learn all about the filtration and treatment of the tap water. Then it's on to the Palm Beach Town Council, where once again, the focus is on water. First, though, your drinking water. Looking out over these serene bodies of water, Lake Mangonia and Clear Lake, located right off Australian Avenue in West Palm Beach, one does not see toxic cylindrospermopsin. That's because it hides deeper underwater. And that's just what it did last May, when 120,000 consumers, including those living on Palm Beach, were told their tap water was too dangerous to drink.
The cyanotoxin that we were working with didn't bloom like a regular blue-green algae bloom. We did not get that big mat on top or anything. None of that shit.
There was nothing visible.
That telltale blue-green algae releases microcystin bacteria, one of the toxins that can plague our water. But it at least provides a visual clue of trouble. Not so for the stealthy cylindrospermopsin. Still, summer is when these bad guys rear their ugly heads, and we're not there yet. I know that it is not the, quote, algae season right now, but in your testing, are you picking up any algae? What are you seeing personally?
This time of year, you do see some jumps in bacteria, but not nearly as bad as what you would see in a summer, right? Colder temperatures, bacteria doesn't like that. So this time of year, it's not too bad.
It is the mission of the Waterkeeper to promote clean water policy, a tall task when a primary water source, Lake Okeechobee, is so polluted.
100 plus years of dirty industry and the lake is really contaminated, a lot of legacy pollution.
Fortunately, West Palm Beach has stepped up its game and is on the hunt for the elusive cyanotoxins, starting here with the mass spectrometer, a newly acquired piece of technology that can flag its dangerous presence so water managers can take protective steps, starting with shutting off these gates so toxic water upstream can't enter these critical water supply lakes.
When it comes to Clear Lake and Lake Mangonia, it's connected to grassy waters, which then is connected to the M Canal, which goes right up to the EAA.
EAA, or Everglades Agricultural Area, a plot of land lying right next to the lake. Given that the surface supply flowing through the West Palm Water Treatment Facility is a challenging water source to treat, water managers put the flow through several stages of filtration and treatment, starting with the addition of powder-activated carbon, which removes organic materials, including cyanotoxins. The water is then stirred up, a process called flocculation, and pushed into these settling ponds, where the offending particles descend to the bottom, leaving cleaner water to move on to the next step.
If you notice, what we're doing with the weirs is basically just taking the top part of the water off. And so all the way down, if there's any settling, it's dropping out as time goes.
Your treated drinking water goes through several more clarifying steps on its way to the fairly new UV tanks, added in 2019, where the ultraviolet light treatment further kills off unwanted and unhealthy contaminants. Finally, the water moves through the chlorination process, dosed appropriately according to tests which show just how much is needed to disinfect the water. Right now, our water, which is tested far more frequently since the May contamination event, is safe to drink. Still, this exhaustive process might not need to be so complex were the source of the water cleaner. To that end, West Palm Beach has made 2 requests from South Florida Water Management District that it be allowed to tap into well fields to source cleaner water and also into the Floridan aquifer. The City of West Palm Beach has asked South Florida Water Management District to be able to tap into those wells, which they say will provide cleaner water that they will then mix with their existing water or superficial water sources.
Right.
What do you think of that idea?
That is, that needs to happen. And more needs to be made to move away from surface water sources.
Water managers could hear about tapping into those wells as soon as next month. At the February Town Council meeting, there was also a focus on water, both your drinking water and sea level rise. What happened following last May's cyanobacteria contamination of the water was what is called a chlorine burn, whereby water managers superchlorinated the tainted water to kill the toxin. At the February Town Council meeting, members heard from water expert John Potts about how short-term chlorine ingestion is not typically dangerous.
2 liters of water a day for 70 years. And there is a possibility of an effect from that level of exposure at levels above what the current limits are. So the risk is present, but by the literature is nominal.
Still, the chlorine disinfectant byproducts, such as trihalomethanes detectable in the water after a chlorine burn, can be carcinogenic, prompting council to request advance notice whenever the chlorine in the drinking water is high, so residents can choose between bottled water or tap.
We'll make sure we work out those protocols with City of West Palm Beach and also pay special attention at the staff level to notify the public as when they're going to be treating it with the chlorine.
Turning to water runoff, environmental attorney Lisa Interlandi reminded council of the consequences of heavy pesticide use.
When you have a very small barrier island like you have here on Palm Beach, everything drains to the water. There's nothing that you put on the land that doesn't end up in the water eventually.
In response to council's desire to further restrict the use of pesticides, a process that is currently prohibited under state law, the town will take steps to seek a change in the law so that in the spirit of home rule, it will be able to set its own pesticide regulations in the future.
The biggest vulnerability of the entire island is from the intercoastal. The best defense against that is to raise seawalls and the adjacent grades.
Paul Brazil outlining a few of the options for hardening the island against flooding and sea level rise, as recommended by the consultant group Woods Hole.
Town facilities and infrastructure objective is to adapt town assets to mitigate risk of damage and failure from future coastal flooding,
which means elevating critical electrical and power stations, a process that is already underway when it can be tied to undergrounding construction. Raising bulkheads or seawalls is a more critical and complicated recommendation requiring in-depth analysis and further study by staff. As to the Woods Hole suggestion that the town explore installing a floodgate in the intercoastal, similar to the one on the Thames River, town manager Bluen provided the reality check.
That's a very, very long term. If it was to get approved, you're looking at least a minimum of 10 years, and probably close to just under $1 billion, and would need a lot of, obviously, federal resources, state and local partners to make that happen.
Town staff will be back with further study and modeling of possible options as council embarks on what is sure to be a complex plan to fortify the island against sea level rise. Coming up on the Palm Beach Civic Association calendar, our much anticipated Monday Sit Down with Willie Geist, host of the popular Sunday Sit Down interview series on NBC. There are still some seats available for the February 28th event at the Breakers, sponsored by Florida Crystals. You will also get to watch as former Mayor Gail Caniglio is presented with the Bill Brooks Community Service Award. For tickets and more information, call us at 561-725-4006 or visit us at palmbeachcivic.org/events. That's it for Palm Beach TV. We thank you so much for watching, and as always, you can catch us on social media. And we'll see you next time on Palm Beach TV, brought to you by the Civic Association and our viewers.
Palm Beach TV is a production of the Palm Beach Civic Association. We thank our sponsor, the Fortin Foundation of Florida, and encourage you, our viewers, to let us know how we can provide news coverage that best serves our members and residents.